Hey there, what's going on? It's Joshua Pellissier here. I'm doing the beginning of a series here that's going to be some of my biggest life hacks that I know of that produce results for me and for other people that I've talked to. Some of them will be about attraction, some of them will be about confidence, some of them will be about business and making money, and some of them will be about health, and maybe some other random topics if I feel like it, DJing or whatever else I happen to be into, martial arts. Um, but today I'm going to talk a little bit about success and business. I grew up really poor in a trailer park, in fact, and we didn't have the money code figured out uh, at the trailer park, as you might imagine. So I didn't have money, but I had some tools. One of those things is that my word meant a lot to me. So if I said something, I had to make sure that I did it. I had to stand by my word. That was my main value. And then the other thing is that I was really persistent. This is what allowed me to understand enough information to write The Tao of Badass and the other books I've written, is that I just persevere. I just keep going until I figure it out, even if it means that, it takes me 10 years, which is what it took me to figure out the whole system behind attraction. And so I set my sights on making money, and I found out some shortcuts that I want to share with you today. And the most important one I'm going to share with you now, and then in future videos I'll reveal other shortcuts that I learned. And that is that what took me from thinking like a poor person and making no money to thinking like a rich person and making lots of money. Ideally, you don't have to sacrifice anything. I went all over the place for me. I sacrificed a lot in the beginning. I didn't have respect. I worked at construction jobs, did construction for 6 years. I worked at really crappy jobs. I had one screen printing job, maybe want to shoot myself. I went all over the place. I started out using my muscles to make money, which aren't very big, as you can see. That didn't make a lot of money. And then after that, learned how to use my mind to make money, and then I learned how to use my charisma to make money. And the biggest shift that I found that actually moved me from a poor mindset person into a wealthy mindset person, I learned from a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. If you haven't read this book, I recommend it. And it's got some super awesome shortcuts for making money. And the biggest one for me, my friend told me I was really broke. It was right before I wrote it was after I wrote The Tao of Badass, but I hadn't sold it yet. It was just kind of sitting there, and I didn't know what to do with it. And he said something that pissed me off. My friend, he said, if you think about making money more than you think about spending money, like minutes wise, if you think about it, 20 minutes a day making money and 40 minutes a day or 10 minutes a day spending money, then you'll make more than you spend. But if you think about spending money more than you think about making money, you'll make less money than you spend and you'll be broke. This is a strange thing, because if you think about it, you don't really notice sometimes whenever you're thinking about spending money. You're just kind of like, oh, it'd be really cool to get this new computer or to get a new phone or I don't know, whatever it is you're into, usually electronic gadgets or like something to make your life better or a trip somewhere. You want to reward yourself for like being a hard worker, So instead of thinking like that, I started saying, okay, well, what if everything in my life, if I thought about making money instead of spending money, even when I was spending money on something, what if I only spent money on stuff that I knew was going to generate a revenue for me so that I would make money from it eventually? So I got into this. I started thinking about it all the time. I was like, I made a rule for myself that I wasn't going to buy anything unless I knew that in the future I was going to monetize it, meaning I was going to use that thing to make money. So if I got a car, I had to go, well, I'm not just going to get any fancy cars because I want to look good. I'm going to have to get a car that is going to make me the most money. Maybe I can resell it, maybe I get it for a good deal, or maybe by having this certain kind of car I can do something I wouldn't be able to do otherwise, and then I have to follow through on it and actually generate the revenue. In the beginning I didn't do that. I was just like screwing around, I'd be like, I'm gonna get this thing and I'll make money off of it. I have this great business idea, and then I'd never do it, and then I'd have this thing and I'd feel kind of guilty, So that kind of changed my mind really quick. Eventually I caught up. I shifted into where I was finding certain things will generate revenue and then other things weren't. And so I stopped focusing on the things that weren't generating revenue, and I started focusing on the things that were. Whenever I got to a point where I was making more money than I was spending, which took me about 7 months, where I was actually making a little bit, but those 7 months were hell because I was trying to change my mindset and I didn't have this whole concept understood like I understand it now, the simplicity of it. So I was still breaking this rule all the time, and because I was doing that, I was spending more money than I was making. So I want to implore you, I want you to try something out. I want you to make more money, I want you to be wealthier, I want you to feel good about it, and I want it to be easy. I don't want you to bust your ass trying to make money. So with me, I want you to try adding a new belief system. Now, in the Tao of Badass, I talk a lot about beliefs because beliefs are what control your subconscious body language patterns. So if I believe I'm unattractive, I shrink up a little bit, I look away a lot, I act less attractive, and women find that less attractive generally. If I feel confident, then I stand up straight and I'm looking directly in your eye and I'm talking to you this way, and women find that more attractive. It's not rocket science, it's just straight up subconscious belief systems, and they are kind of at the core of everything. So what I want you to do now is I want you to create a belief system, especially if you've been through the material of the Tao of Badass. There's a 5-step belief creation process in there. I'll go over it really quickly with you now. The first thing is that you have a belief that's already there. It could be that you're not wealthy. That's usually what the belief is. If we're going to change a belief, we have to challenge the current belief, right? That makes sense. If you think that you're not wealthy and then you add in a belief that you are wealthy, you're probably going to have a hard time because you're going to be like, well, but it's called dissonance. I wrote a whole paper on this in college in psychology. The topic that I chose was cognitive dissonance. It's where you have two beliefs that are contrary that you hold at the same time, right? I'm wealthy and I'm poor. Those two things cause inner tension. They make you go nuts. And so you can't hold two opposing belief systems. So you have to challenge the first belief system as soon as you can, and that's the first thing you do. And the way that you do that is you look at your current belief. The question is, how can you tell that you're wealthy or that you're poor? Well, ultimately, you have to compare yourself to somebody to tell. So if the person you compare yourself to is wealthier than you, then you're going to feel poor. If the person you compare yourself to is poorer than you, then you're going to feel wealthy. So really, that's a matter of just choosing who you compare yourself to. So you can't really say that you are wealthy or that you're poor compared to somebody else, right? And that means that you really can't say then that you are wealthy or that you're poor for sure, because every time you compare yourself to a new person, it'll change. So it's essentially just as likely that you are wealthy as it is that you are poor, because it's 50% chance, because you're making it up. It's not actually that you are one way or the other, and yet you believe one thing over another. So the first thing you want to do is say, well, since it's 50-50, and since it feels better to think that I'm wealthy, then I'm just going to believe that. And I'll redefine wealth so that I can make sure it makes sense in my world. So I accept the belief second. So I challenge the first belief, the old belief, and then I accept the new belief. Now the new belief is that I'm wealthy, right? I'm a wealthy person. And now the way that I do this, and this is very simple, try it out. I just look in the mirror, just like I'm doing right now on the video. I look in the mirror and I say, I'm wealthy. And the first time I say it, I go, it feels like a lie. If it feels like a lie, good. That means you're changing your old belief. It's uprooting this old crappy belief that you have. I'm wealthy. Okay, you say it, I'm wealthy. You keep saying it. Say it 100 times if you have to. Keep saying it, all right? I'm wealthy. I'm wealthy. Say it all these different ways. I'm a wealthy person. I'm wealthy. It's just the way it is. I always add these things that make it seem like it's not my opinion of myself. It's that wealth is not just being rich. Wealth is being really happy about what you have too, and feeling like you've accomplished something in life in order to get it, instead of just feeling like it was given to you. Wealth is also health, is also you feeling good with what you have. So I'm a wealthy person. Okay, so I keep doing that in the mirror until finally I say it and I go, I guess I am kind of a wealthy person. I start to actually believe this, When you start to believe it, good. Keep going, keep going, keep going until you're like, this is silly. Of course I'm wealthy. I don't even need to say this anymore. Of course I'm wealthy. Now, your mind might try to trick you into ending early. Do not end early. Don't stop until you certainly are sure that you are wealthy. Then you move on to the next stage, which is the part that most people who are doing affirmations skip over. And that is you proclaim it out loud. You have to believe this, so you have to get feedback from other people. if you were feeling wealthy on the inside and then you're around 100 people and they're all like, you're poor, dude, you're poor, don't believe you're wealthy, that's bullshit, then it's not safe for you to create a new belief because it kicks you out of society, and so your subconscious mind will not accept it. So the whole goal is to get your subconscious mind to accept it. So you're going to then proclaim it. You have to do it in normal conversation though. You can't just be like, hey, what's going on? I'm Joshua. I'm wealthy. People are like, what? That doesn't make any sense. They know right away that you don't believe it. So if you believe it, you accept it. Then when you're talking and it comes up, then you go, well, I'm wealthy because wealth isn't really just money. It's making enough to have your lifestyle make you feel happy, whatever it is that you define wealth as. So you explain it and you go, and I feel wealthy, and that's just the way that it is. And people seem to think that I am, and I feel that way, and it works for me, So you communicate this. That's the proclamation part. That's the third step. After that, you're going to get feedback from these people. This can be scary, but if the feedback is that you're not wealthy, that means that you have to go back and redefine wealth for yourself until when you say it to them, they say, yes, I agree. Now, you don't want to talk to the same person every time. You don't want to talk to somebody who's always negative, who doesn't believe you and doesn't want you to grow. You want to talk to somebody who believes in you so that you can get a real good read on this. So you proclaim it, you get the feedback. As soon as you get feedback enough, it's only a few times, your subconscious mind goes click. And then all of a sudden, all of your body language, all of your actions, all of your thought processes, all of your ideas are a wealthy person's ideas. And then from there, you make as much money as you want to. You can do this with anything you want. In the Tao of Badass, I talk about doing it with the concept that is just saying that you're hot. I'm hot. Women think that I'm attractive. You do that, you do it until your subconscious mind accepts it. And then, of course, you have to move on to proclaiming it. And you have to make sure you define it properly so that your mind will accept, other people will accept it as well. And then that's it. After that, the people will start to see you that way. And you'll feel the response from people. So try this out with wealthy. Think about making money. Make this rule that, and it's not just money, but think about it anyway. Because money is the biggest indicator of wealth for people, and success. If you're like broke and living in a cardboard box and you're successful, you don't have the external reality to show you that you are. So what you want to do is use this belief system to create an external reality in your world that bounces off of your body language, bounces off of your mindset. When people interact with you, they feel either you belong in the wealthy crowd or that you belong in the poor crowd or whatever it is. And I escaped the trailer park this way, man. Most of the people that grew up with me in the trailer park are still there. They're still there. I go to St. Augustine, Florida. They are there in this same spot, in this same trailer. Maybe they get a new trailer across the way, but they typically don't change very much. And the reason why I changed personally, and I'm not saying this is how it is for everybody, but the reason I changed is because I had a mindset that was keeping me there, and that's it. Nothing else was keeping me there. I left and I built my own empire now, which was the Tao of Badass. I grew it into a $10 million a year business in 2 years. It only took 2 years to do that. It was a son of a bitch, don't get me wrong, and I had a lot of mental blocks during that time that I had to get over. So there's more to it as you grow. But this is the beginning part of the process. Use your beliefs to make you more badass at everything you do. Use your beliefs to be a superhuman, to create habits that a superhuman version of you, the absolute best version of you, the one that's optimized, the one that does everything like a badass. Just like you can learn how to get better with women or be more attractive or get better at a skill set like carpentry or anything like that, you can also get better at being something, being wealthy or experiencing life as a wealthy person. Try it out and comment if you feel like it. YouTube is notorious for having really shitty commenters, as in I don't read most of them because they're terrible people. Not you, obviously, but people just go crazy on YouTube. They don't care. They're not even talking to a human. So I'll read through it, and if it's a shitty comment, I'll just skip over it. But comment if you have questions. I'll try to respond to you and try it out, man, and see how it works for you. Take care. I'm signing off now. Hopefully there'll be a lot more little shortcut series like this as well. Peace.